Hello, my name is Hassan Sorrells, and this is the Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast shorts. There's no co-host on these shorts episodes. These are now around 2 to 4 minute, sometimes as long as 6 to 10 minute observations, ideas, thoughts, or rants about the literature, philosophy, psychology, and even the theology of leadership. Because listening to me talk about leadership for now around 2 to 4 minutes is still better than reading and trying to understand yet another business book. Even that business book your coworker won't stop raving about because it quote-unquote changed their life, but you can't see any difference in their leadership behavior. So how good could that author be? A person's moral conscience emanates from their personality and their psychology. We develop a conscience about the location of our moral core by testing assumptions and ideas, first in our heads and then in the world that surrounds us. Our first tests are in our families, and then they gradually move up the social hierarchy to our communities, our schools, finally landing in our workplaces. Such dynamic testing is organic and can take years. There are leaders we can all name who have acquired power and position, but who have an undeveloped moral conscience because something was off in the testing process. The best leaders tell people they are leading where their own moral conscience lies. They role model the outcomes they would like to see for their followers in the world. They advocate with their rhetoric for an external world that matches ever so closely their internal moral conscience. The best leaders are not driven by bitterness when their moral conscience isn't seen in the world or isn't even acknowledged in their time. As a matter of fact, these kinds of leaders intimately understand that genuine human moral progress may appear to happen overnight, but it only seems that way because human beings tend towards myopia and forgetfulness. The best leaders do what they can in the box they are in, the social box, the political box, the cultural box. If they are self-aware and other-aware at the same time, they understand and navigate the rules of being in the boxes they are in. And they even take the time to explain the outlines of the box to their followers, not to engender, create revolution, but to increase and grow understanding and knowledge. Leadership with a moral core that can be articulated from a moral conscience is that which many people are looking for today, even though they don't have those words or those terms to describe it. Sure, there are those who are put off by a seemingly high level of moral assurance and a seeming lack of moral struggle, but this is only because we in the West, over the last 80 years or so, have romanticized the difficult process of putting together a moral compass without describing sufficiently where a leader should focus it. Leaders develop a moral conscience and then tell us all out here what you're going to do with it. And well, that's it for me. Thank you for listening to the Leadership Lessons from the Great Books podcast today. And now that you've made it this far, you should subscribe to the audio version of this show on all the major podcast players, including Apple iTunes, Spotify, YouTube Music, and everywhere else where podcasts are available. There's also a video version of our podcast on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to the video version of this podcast on the Leadership Toolbox channel on YouTube. Just search for Leadership Toolbox and hit the subscribe button there on YouTube. And while you're doing that, leave a 5-star review if you like what we're doing here on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Just go below the player and hit 5 stars. We need those reviews to grow, and it's the easiest way to help grow this show. And tell all your friends, of course, in leadership. By the way, if you don't like what we're doing here, well, you can always listen to another leadership show. There are several other good ones out there. At least that's what I've heard. All right. Well, that's it for me.